Hi, my name's Paul. Thanks for being there. I'm going to talk today about drought and the attitude we need to have when going into drought, which is probably going to be the next year and a half. I've already been spending the last 6 months, I've already been spending the last 20 years getting ready for droughts, and it's never ending. That's the first thing you need to know. The decisions you make today will definitely play out in the next few years. So what am I doing at the moment on my place? Being self-sufficient and off-grid, what am I doing and what have I done? Well, I'm going to talk more about attitude. I'm not actually going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to talk to you about attitude and the way you may want to think about this. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is what does a drought mean to you? You know, I mean, if you've got bores and lots of water and you live on a tiny quarter-acre block and you're not worried about how much water you use, then a drought's not really going to affect you. It's really not going to do. Extra sunny days maybe, and a bit more growing, you know. But people who live on bigger properties, like most farmers, especially those doing persistent farming that lasts a lifetime. They're looking at the picture a lot differently. So when you're living off grid, as I'm living off grid, me and Kerry lived off grid for about 20 years here. I'm looking 2 to 5 years forward. Like what's happening in the next 2 to 5 years. And one of the ways you get there is by learning the seasons. Where you are, not where I am. This is useless where I am, but where you are. And learning when the rain falls and how much the rain does fall in your area. I've got 20 years worth of records, mainly in my head, but I've got 20 years worth of records, 20 years of how the water runs through my property, how, you know, and understanding how your place works is a big thing. Don't worry about your neighbours. Just worry about your place. That's the only thing you got to worry about is your place. You know, what does dry weather mean for you at your place? What is it? You know, like as I said, if you've just got a little tiny block and you've got plenty of bores and water, it's not going to mean a lot. But people who are dry land farming, they rely on every mill. Literally, they rely on every mill to grow their crops and get things going. And that's just the way it is for the big people. I'm looking my water supply. I look a year out all the time. You know, I'm okay. How's the water supply looking now? That's going to push me out to a year, and that's what I do. I'm looking a year ahead. Is that water supply? Is that water still going to be there? Do I need to look at something that's going to happen in the near future? And you might have to look at rivers. You might be looking at dams, creeks, water tanks, bores, and this is where your water's coming from. And you got to look at these things. And as I said, you're looking a year out. If you're just starting this journey and and you've pumped all the water out of your dam's no longer got water in it, you just haven't looked a year ahead. And that comes with experience. You're not going to get this straight away. I still haven't got this right now, so you're not going to get it. You know, like you're not going to get it straight away. I'm still learning. I'm evolving all the time. Look, my personal opinion is the best place for water is in the ground, right? It's good to store it in tanks so you can, you know, like this, I'm in my veggie garden here. I'm rebuilding this veggie garden right now for this dry period that's happening over the next year and a half. Me and Kerry rely highly on our vegetables that we grow, so that just so we can survive and live. We're on a pension, and I'm highly reliant on to have a reasonable lifestyle. I'm highly reliant on my gardens, but I needed to make my garden drought resistant so that I can still plough through a drought and still have plenty of food on my plate in my kitchen. So I had to redesign this, and this has been in process for 6 months already, and in another 6 months it'll be finished. So you don't have to have things finished in the next week or 2 weeks. It's not feasible for most of us who don't have access to money. I don't want to get into. If I don't have the money to do it, it just doesn't get done. So yeah, I think you got to watch where water flows across your land. Learn, and that comes with your time and experience. If you've been on a place for 2 years or less, you really don't understand the water yet going across your property, and that's because you haven't seen the biggest floods, you haven't seen the driest times. It's just the way it is. When you see those things will fall into place, and I think you'll be very surprised on how much, the longer you're there, how much you'll learn. The other thing I'm encouraging you to do is to be proactive, not reactive. Don't wait till the drought happens. Oh, we haven't got, look, we're running out of water in the dam, so no. Or you're running out of water in your tank. No, you should be watching that tank drop down. Don't rely on the water to come out of the sky to fill the tank up. You've got to go, okay, look, it hasn't rained when we thought it rains. How much water have we got? Now, I have water tanks around the property, and our drinking water, our house water supply, we've got a year's supply there now. And I know we've got a year's supply because that's what I've got. I know how much water I use in a year. So I've got about a year's supply of water up there. And that is with a couple of showers here and there, and you're going to get them. If it was no rain at all, nothing, completely nothing, probably 8 to 10 months of water supply. But with a few showers here and there, it keeps it topped up, so we're pretty good. So yeah, as I said, look forward, be proactive, not reactive. It's going to save you a lot of heartache and trouble, because you're not on the back foot. You're looking forward, you're projecting forward, and you're going, okay, well, like, dams down a little bit. Okay, we'll just cut the water usage a little bit to the fruit trees until we know the dam's up, so we can keep the fruit trees alive and they're there for us next year, even if we don't get a lot of fruit this year. So you see what I mean? You're proactive. You're not reactive. You don't just have, all of a sudden you've got dead fruit trees because you haven't been able to water them for the last 3 months because you put all the water on early because you wanted a big crop. Yeah, you got a big crop, but I got no plants. So yeah, as I said, it's a way of thinking. I think the other thing that people miss is you need to understand your failures. You're going to fail. I have failed many times. If I wrote down all my failures, I probably wouldn't have started this. But that's where I learn. I do these certain things, and I go, well, that didn't work. I have, on this property, I've had my garden in 1, 2, 3, 4 places in 20 years, and it's moved for reasons. But, it's just moved. My gardens have moved around because of the way I've done things differently. So don't be scared of failing. It is just part of the process. The more you fail, the more you'll learn, the more you want to do research. So don't be scared of failure. Don't let anyone tell you, oh, you failed. No, you didn't. You learned. That's what you got. That's what you say to them. No, I haven't failed. I've learned. And learning is as I said, is failing, and you learn, you move on, you know. And understanding your limits when you're doing this. Your limits might be physical, mental. Your limits might be financial. That's like a lot of us. Our limits are financial. We can only do so much. But there's ways around a lot of these things, and getting support and a group of people who are like-minded thinking around you and throwing ideas. I've got a friend, and for over 15 years, probably closer to 20 years, we've been throwing these ideas around about being off-grid. So he's off-grid in the middle of Brisbane. He's almost totally off-grid in the middle of Brisbane, and I'm off-grid on like 40 acres. And we have so much in common. It's amazing. There's really not much difference between us, except for probably scale. You know, I'm a bit bigger than what he's doing, and I'm doing things, but he's delved into areas that I'm not interested in, that you can use for off grid, and I've delved into areas that he's not interested in being off grid. So you know, like, it's horses for courses. But anyway. Know your limits. As I said, know your limits. Know that you, and as I said, there's ways around it. By getting people around you who are like-minded and talking to them, you will find a way out. It's amazing how ideas will come up. So you know, do those type of things. So look, I'm not here to tell you how to go off grid. I'm not here to tell you how to go off grid. I'm not here to tell you how to go through a drought. What to actually do. That's up to you. Individual. It's going to be individual. You know, I can share with you, and I will be sharing with you in the future on what I've done, but I won't be telling you to do it. It's totally up to you. People have different visions of their future, and I think that they should be individual. They should never ever be, this is the way you got to do it. No, it's totally individual. We have 4 people in the street who are off grid, not connected to the mains, and every one of us have done it differently. And there is a reason why every one of us done it differently, because we've seen it all different. And there's not one of the systems that's identical to the other one. Totally not. It's quite amazing. It's quite amazing. So yeah, as I said, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm more to help you how to think. Like, how do I look at this? So August last year, I keep an eye on the weather, and I also use people that I trust on telling the forecast of what weather's going to be like. And August last year, the 2025, I realised that we're heading into some really, really dry times, probably until 2028. And then we're going to head into some really wet times. But we're heading into some dry times, and I need to change the way I'm doing things. So you know, it took me a month or two to work out what I wanted to do. How am I going to get through this? Like, which way am I going? And where I'm sitting here used to be a whole garden, and I actually took probably about a foot of topsoil off here, which was not here 5 years ago, by the way. That's an interesting thing. And I took a foot of topsoil off, and I pushed it down the other end, and I've leveled it out, and I've pushed part of that topsoil back over the top of it. In another video I'll show you this garden. Yeah, this garden is completely all wicking beds. I make all my own compost on site, and all the wicking beds are well looked after, and they're thriving and doing fantastic already, and I've only just started. I haven't finished here yet. So this project won't be finished till Christmas, like after Christmas next year. But you know, I'm ready for the next drought. Then I don't know. The infrastructure's all here. I'm ready for the next drought. Look, I hope some of that helped you on your walk being off grid. Um, I'm more of a person who I want to help you think the right way, because I see a lot of people who get into off grid. I've been gardening for over 35 years. I've been off grid here for 20 odd years. I've been off grid on camel farms and all different types of things. So, you know, in all different ways I've been off grid. And this is the most stable way I've been off grid, thank goodness, because carries support. But yeah, I want to encourage you to just look forward, and yeah. So I'll see you next time. Bye.